Now let's take a brief look at inspection and adjustment methods for the IIA ignition system. You can tell the engine condition from the color and condition of the spark plug's electrodes. A light brown color like this shows that the engine is in good shape. If the electrodes are black like this, the air-fuel mixture may be too rich or the spark plug heat range may be too high. If the electrodes are white, the air-fuel mixture may be too lean or the electrode heat range may be too low, causing the electrodes to scorch. Please clean the electrodes with a spark plug cleaner or a wire brush. Next, check with the spark plug gap gauge whether the spark gap is within the correct range. If the gap is out, bend the outer electrode to adjust the gap. In the case of a platinum tip spark plug, the tip of the center electrode and the opposing earth electrode are thinly plated with platinum. In principle, in order to protect the electrodes, they should not be cleaned. But if it becomes necessary to use a spark plug cleaner, for example, because of soot, clean the electrodes as quickly as possible. It is not necessary to adjust the gap of a platinum spark plug. Inspection of the high-tension cords. Measure the resistance of the high-tension cords with an ohm meter. Inspection of the ignition coil. Measure the resistance of the primary and secondary coils and check that the resistance is correct. Next, measure the resistance of the pickup coil. To inspect the air gap with a non-magnetic feeler gauge, measure the gap between the signal rotor and the pickup coil projection. In the case of ESA, measure the gap between the NE signal pickup coil and the G signal pickup coil. Also measure signal generator resistance. To inspect the vacuum advancer, disconnect the vacuum hose and connect a vacuum pump to the diaphragm. Apply a vacuum and check that the vacuum advancer operates correctly. When inspecting the governor advancer, turn the rotor forward, release it, and check that the rotor quickly rotates backward. And check that the rotor doesn't rattle. Next, inspection of ignition timing. First, connect a tachometer and timing light. Disconnect the vacuum hose from the distributor subdiaphragm and plug the end of the hose. Then set the initial ignition timing. With the engine idling as specified, use the timing light to check that the ignition timing is correct. If the engine speed is high at this point, the governor advancer will operate, so be sure to check this with the engine idling. If the ignition timing is incorrect, loosen the distributor bolts and turn the distributor. ESA has a different inspection procedure. Let's check it out. First, connect the tachometer. Then use the SST to short terminals T or TE1 and E1 of the check connector in order to prevent the correction of the advance angle and set the initial timing. With the engine idling as specified, check that the ignition timing is correct. Please refer to the repair manual for the reference value. This video has explained principles, construction, and operation of an ignition system. The ignition system is essential for the smooth operation of the engine. We hope that this video and the other reference materials will improve your understanding of ignition systems and help you in your everyday work.